to you all, and welcome to our service here on January 31st here at First Parish Church in Weston. I am Jeff Barz-Snell, minister here, and we are glad you could take the time today to join us for a few minutes. If you are a new viewer, we welcome you to our service, and if you are a longtime member and friend, we are glad you could take the time to tune in on this day. We strive to keep these services timely and hopeful and lively with a little bit of something for everyone. And we continue to miss the blessing of being gathered here in person, to worship, to give thanks, to find inspiration, and to come away renewed. Our service participants this day include Jeff Weeding, our organist, Mary Menino, our flautist. Christine Bishop is our song leader. Bill Seno is our music director. Herb and Lila Hooper are our chalice lighters. And Sarah Napoline, our minister for families and community outreach. All participants on this day. Our opening hymn is Praise to the Lord the Almighty. The 3 verses that we will sing can be found in the order of service that is posted on our website and was emailed out to many of you yesterday. But in case you didn't see it, feel free just to go to our online worship page at our website and you will find the PDF file there. Let us sing Praise to the Lord the Almighty.
Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the God of creation. Sing, my soul, praising the source of thy health and salvation. O ye who hear, now to God's temple draw near. Join me in glad adoration. Praise to the Lord who doth prosper thy work and defend thee. Surely great goodness and mercy here daily attend thee. Ponder anew what the Almighty can do, who with great love doth befriend thee. Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the God of creation. All that hath life and breath, come now with praises jubilation. Let the Amen sound from God's people again, joining in glad
Thank you, Christine. We'd now like to call forward and welcome Herb and Layla Hooper as they will light our chalice for this day.
We light our chalice as a symbolic act to establish and acknowledge a time in our week when rituals have meaning, when stories tell the truth, and when the Spirit speaks louder than words. We need times when we are reminded of the transcendent mystery of creation and our place in the universe.
We also light our chalice on this cold winter morning as we gather as a congregation to consider the many ways we can support this congregation and find ourselves renewed and inspired as a result. A church community like this one relies on the goodwill and generosity of all of us.
Thank you, Herb and Layla. We now invite you to join with us in participating in a new tradition here at First Parish, the virtual exchange of peace. We have this remarkable technology in our pockets and on our desks and on our persons almost 24/7, and we accomplish all sorts of amazing feats with these devices, but we rarely employ them simply to wish people well. So take a moment and reach out to folks you know from First Parish or from your network in the larger community. Take a moment and text them or email them or call them with your device. Send them a quick text, give them a quick call, shoot them an email, and simply say good morning. I wish you peace this day. Say you can't talk long right now, that you're actually attending a service, and if they think that's a little strange, that's okay. Tell them you are participating in a service right now and wanted to take a moment and wish them peace and wellness during this time when so many people are struggling.
Our reading this morning is from Psalm 90, a prayer of Moses, the man of God. Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. You turn us back to dust and say, turn back, you mortals. For 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday when it is past, or like a watch in the night. You sweep them away, they are like a dream, like grass that is renewed in the morning. In the morning it flourishes and is renewed. In the evening it fades and withers. For we are consumed by your anger, by your wrath we are overwhelmed. You have set our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of your countenance. For all our days pass away under your wrath. Our years come to an end like a sigh. The days of our life are 70 years, or perhaps 80 if we are strong. Even then their span is only toil and trouble. They are soon gone, and we fly away. Who considers the power of your anger? Your wrath is as great as the fear that is due you. So teach us to count our days, that we may gain a wise heart.
Thank you, Mary and Jeff. This morning, I want to offer an update, a proposal of sorts, and a sales pitch. And I hope to do all three of these things in relatively short order here on the day of our annual budget hearing. First, the update. As most of us know, our church created and now helps to manage the Weston Cares Fund. We created this community program and fund last April. Steve Hibbard, a member of the congregation who serves on the investment committee, called me up and wondered if there might be a way that we could create a fund that people could donate to, people who received a check from the CARES Act but did not feel like they needed it personally. Maybe they might consider giving those funds, giving the CARES check, to a worthy cause or charity, especially if it were local. So a small group of us then came together and created this community fund, whose purpose is to help people and organizations adversely impacted by the COVID virus here in the local area. There are plenty of ways to donate to larger charities whose purview and territory is the larger Boston area, or all of New England, or all of the country for that matter. And that is all well and good. Truth be told, food pantries rely on a regional network of wholesale food distribution run mainly by the Greater Boston Food Bank. So that is one among many Greater Boston charities worthy of our support, especially during days like these. However, we wanted to create something that would focus on our section of the Metro West region. And so was born the Weston Cares Fund, whose mission is to help people in Weston and the 7 towns and cities abutting our community. We wanted to help people in need who live and work within 4 to 5 miles of where I am standing right now in Weston Town Center. We wanted to help our neighbors, loosely defined. So we quickly put together a steering committee comprised of members of our outreach committee and a few people we knew from the larger town. We were delighted when we had some folks not connected to First Parish join the group. We have members from the Weston Rotary Club participating, members from the Women's Community League of Weston, and St. Julia's Roman Catholic Parish right down the street. Since last April, this steering committee has met once a week to review applications, to verify and follow up with specific applicants, and to help as many people as we can with the resources that have been entrusted to us. Our goal has been to do as much good and provide as much help as we are able to do. And by the end of April, we had gone live with a website and an outreach campaign. We originally had the goal of raising $100,000 to assist local folks, and many of you watching this and many others responded generously to our mission and to our request. By early November, we had already met that original goal, but we also had experienced and observed firsthand the large and the growing need from people and families right nearby. So we increased our goal to $150,000, and we kept going. Well, now we have reached that milestone, and we have decided to increase our goal up for the fund one more time to $200,000. And we do this with a profound appreciation and respect and gratitude for many of you who have made very generous donations to this fund. We also do this with a sober and well-informed understanding of how many people are suffering within a 5 to 10 minute drive of where I am speaking to you this day and where many of you are listening to this service. By far the most challenging part of serving on this steering committee of the Weston Cares Fund is taking the time each week to learn about the people, to learn about the families who are applying for assistance. Some of the stories we hear are heartbreaking. Stories about people sick with COVID and unable to work and generate an income for themselves. Stories of people owing thousands of dollars in back rent and having small children and being terrified that they are going to be evicted. Stories of hardworking immigrants laid off from their jobs. Jobs in places and stores and in businesses that many of us are familiar with, and finding that they do not qualify for government aid, but still have all the needs that the rest of us have in terms of paying for food and rent and heat on a day like today. Stories of families, 5 to 10 people living in 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. There is a whole world that coexists right nearby and right underneath our lives. And many of us rarely take the time to see it and experience it. Our steering committee has taken that time, and we learn more about the need and the needs of folks right around here each and every week. We live in a region and a community with arguably one of the best standards of living in the country. Indeed, one of the best standards of living in the world, at least if you are educated and you have a good job. But along with this world that we occupy, there exists another society of sorts. And this inequality is documented and described quite well in a recent report released this month by the Metro West Foundation. Using data from the U.S. Census Bureau and local cities and towns, the report found significant disparities in wealth, in education, in access to health care, and decent housing amidst different communities who all live and work in the region just west of Boston. For example, with respect to children under the age of 18, 27% of Latino kids and 21% of Black kids live in poverty. This is compared to 7% of white children and 8% of Asian kids. The steering committee of the Weston Cares Fund has observed these disparities firsthand. We have observed on a weekly basis how the pandemic is disproportionately impacting local families, especially if they are immigrants. We have seen how hunger and access to schooling varies significantly by town and by household. And we have also seen what a difference a targeted grant of $1,000 can make to a local family, and how much amazing good can be done and accomplished with a $5,000 to $10,000 grant to a local agency helping their clients and their community. I am so proud, so very proud of this steering committee, and I want to thank them for their contributions here. You know who you are. They include Cindy Brisky, Madeline Kenyon, Paul Luwaldi, Carolyn Peters, Adrian Prohl, and Ellen Tuart-Grobe. It is an honor to work with this group. And Camille Schmidtick, I forgot Camille Schmidtick, forgive me, Camille. Camille Schmidtick is also in there. It is an honor to work with you, this group of local residents who have given of their time and capabilities so that this community fund maximizes what we can all do collectively. All of you who are donors are getting a very big ROG, a return on generosity. If you have given a donation to the Weston Cares Fund, we thank you. If you find yourself in a position to donate again, we encourage you to consider doing so. Better yet, spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors about us. Encourage others to make a donation. Every single dollar is being given away. Every single dollar that comes in is going out to local families in need and local agencies that are helping them. Some of us have done just fine during this pandemic, and the markets have made that especially easy. It's actually remarkable what has happened with the markets in the last 12 months, truth be told. But others are having a very tough time right now. Hopefully things will improve from here. But we can continue to make a real difference during this time of challenge and despair. Now, there is another reason why it makes sense to support an initiative like the Weston Cares Fund and a community like this one. The practice of generosity and extending concern to others is good for the soul. And we are in, lest we forget, we are in the soul formation and training business after all. On this Sunday before our annual meeting, on this day when we take the time to propose and review our budget for this coming year, I think it is worth stepping back, even for a moment, and reminding ourselves of what we are supporting when we participate in a community and in a church like this one. You see, we are joining a practice of sorts. Too often, I think, we think of religion as an occasional experience, as a diversion. We think of it as something nice to do when it fits into the busy schedules and the to-do lists of our lives. I would like to suggest to us here this morning that many of us benefit from changing our model, changing the way we think about attending church, and rethinking what participating in a religious tradition is all about. I think of participation here as a practice, similar to playing a musical instrument or going to the gym. If we do these things on a regular basis, we will slowly get better. We will develop skills and capabilities that we did not have before. We will develop insights that heretofore we did not possess. The structure and the discipline of attendance, of participation, is good for us. The same holds true with a healthy and vital religious community. We are a place and a church where we are invited to remember the needs of our souls and our soul's journey through this world. Ralph Waldo Emerson once wrote that the purpose of life is to grow a soul. And churches, when they're operating and set up the way they should be, help with and assist in that process, in that journey. To use metaphors both ancient and contemporary, this is a place to grow our souls and to rewire our brains. For some of us, the traditions we observe, the hymns and the songs that we sing, the stories from the Bible and other sacred texts that we retell, these are not just words from previous eras. Rather, they are doors and windows to fresh insight about our current lives and our place in this world. They remind us to take the needs of our egos less seriously and the needs of the world more seriously. They remind us that the incessant monologue of our thoughts and feelings continually scrolling through our minds is not the end all. In fact, we are reminded that each of us is more than just our thoughts. Each of us is more than just that running monologue in our minds, those fleeting bits of judgment that we pass oh so easily on ourselves and others. I have been here 2.5 years at this point. Boy, does it seem like an awful lot has happened in 30 months between moving to a new community, managing the transition as a new minister, and now leading this congregation during the worst pandemic in 100 years. One of the programs of which I am most proud is starting up the Wednesday morning prayer and meditation gathering that we began 2 years ago in January of 2019. For the last 2 years, we have met almost every Wednesday morning for 15 minutes of reflection and 20 minutes of meditation and prayer. It has become an important anchor in my ongoing devotional life, that and Sunday morning. And I know that I am not alone. We now meet on Zoom, and we still have anywhere from 12 to 16, sometimes more joining us each week. In those meetings, we often share reflections from both Western monotheistic traditions and Eastern Buddhist and Hindu traditions, all with the purpose of fostering some connection with what is transcendent and holy in this life. And there is enormous value. There is enormous value in learning how to quiet our minds. There is a real gift from remembering that we are more than simply our thoughts. Slowly over time, people both in the West and the East have learned that by calming their minds, they are better able to make clearer and more peaceful decisions about their lives. They're able to feel more in harmony with their world and with the cosmos. Some of us have come to realize that this is the beginning of the peace that passes all understanding that Jesus describes in the Gospels. Now, there are many metaphors for describing the calming of one's mind. Zen Buddhists like to say, muddy water set still. That certainly captures it. Other Buddhists will talk about ceasing the monkey mind, the mind's tendency to jump around and flitter about from thing to thing. That describes it as well. Here in the West, there are plenty of images that we employ. Sometimes we use the image of a kind shepherd to make the point. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. Water and still waters often serve as an important image. For example, Father Thomas Keating likes to use the image of a river to describe contemplative prayer and practice. Father Keating was an influential teacher in the centering prayer movement and actually taught a version of the welcoming prayer to people looking for a new and authentic devotional practice. It's a way of dealing with negative emotions we all experience on a regular basis in our lives. We actually heard that prayer in that moving video we saw at the beginning of our worship service today. The prayer begins, I welcome everything that comes to me this day, because I know it's for my healing. I welcome all thoughts, all feelings and emotions, all persons, situations, and conditions. I let go of my desire for power and control. I let go of my desire for affection, esteem, approval, and pleasure. And the prayer then goes on from there. Father Keating likes to use the image of a river to explain how our mind and errant emotions work. Imagine that our thoughts are like boats on a river, our stream of consciousness, if you will. And quite often the boats are so closely packed together, so identified with us that we cannot see, we cannot experience the river that flows underneath them. Father Keating recommends that when we get hooked, when we get distracted by a boat, we simply name the boat, acknowledge the boat, and then let it go. Let it drift down the river. Let it keep floating down the stream instead of jumping onto it. Let it float away naturally, and it will indeed do just that if we don't jump onto it, if we don't give it energy, if we don't give it gas. Gradually, with time and practice, the mind will quiet with fewer thoughts, with fewer feelings, and suddenly there is more space that emerges between the boats. Suddenly, we can see the stream. In such a practice, it is important to be patient, since we all have certain thoughts or boats that we are quite attached to. We all have habits of mind and ways of thinking that can slowly change, however. The trick is to keep letting go. The trick is to keep coming back to the present moment. Keep bringing our minds back to what is here and what is real and what is now. This is how we improve the chances of experiencing the divine or the sacred in this life. by remembering and recognizing the stream or the river of awareness or consciousness that runs through all of our lives. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Our traditions, our readings, our songs, our rituals that we share, our actions that help us and remind us of the subtler works of soul in this life. Through acts of generosity, through acts of kindness and worship and contemplation, we actually can begin to experience a loving presence and a change in perspective, which is the real purpose of our gatherings, of our mission, of our activity. I pray that we will all find ways that we can foster this peace and this possibility in our lives. Amen.
Friends, I invite you to pray with me. Oh, Eternal One, it would be easier for me to pray if I were clear and of a single mind and a pure heart. If I could be done hiding from myself and from you even in my prayers. But I am who I am, mixture of motives and excuses, a blur of memories, a quiver of hopes, a knot of fear and confusion, and restless with love. I wander somewhere between gratitude and grievance, wonder and routine, high resolve and undone dreams. Come, find me, Lord. Be with me exactly as I am. Spirit of life and love, be with me in the wilderness of my mind, the uncertainty of my heart, and the fidgeting of my body. Guide me on this journey, the practice of faith and building up of spiritual practices. Guide me on the river and stream of life. Be patient with my wanderings that I may find you. Find the place within me that knows deeper truths and deeper love. Help me find your peace and the still, small voice within. And now I invite you to pray with me as Jesus taught us to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Many of you have inquired how you can support First Parish Church and our work here in Weston when we are not here on Sundays in body. You can do so three ways, as we note in these services. You can mail in a check to the church office. That works quite well. You can log on to your bank account and set up a one-time or periodic donation that way. That's my favorite. Or you can use our PayPal account. And the easiest way to do that is to have a PayPal account yourself and then search on our office email address, admin@firstparishweston.org. We should pop up as an authorized recipient. And in the coming days and weeks, we actually should have an even easier way, streamlined way to do that as well. Regardless of the option you choose, we thank you, the members and the friends of this congregation, for continuing to support our church's voice and presence and mission. What we do here matters, and it is worthy of our support. Thank you for joining us today. We invite you to check out our upcoming gatherings and meetings, including our virtual fellowship hour that will begin at 11:30 on Zoom today and be followed by our annual budget hearing at 11:45 a.m., all on the same Zoom link. You don't even have to click in or click out. The budget hearing will be hosted by our treasurer, Mr. Todd Foote. There are links to all online meetings in the e-newsletter that was sent out yesterday and on the calendar page of our website. In addition to the budget hearing at 11:45 a.m., there is a meeting of our Social Justice Task Force that will be held at 2 p.m. today. This is in addition to our regular weekly programs, such as Knitters and Stitchers on Mondays at noon, our Wednesday morning meditation program at 8:30, and my chat and check-in with the minister on Thursdays at 4 p.m. In addition, this week, the first Tuesday of the month, I will be hosting the Senior Men's Luncheon, 12 noon, February 2nd, Groundhog Day, also on Zoom. And now I would like to introduce Denise Mosher from the Committee on Adult Ministries and Programs with a timely February announcement.
Hi everyone, it's Denise Mosher from the Camp Committee, inviting you to participate in a new program the Camp Committee has started this year called Secret Sweeties. The way it works is you sign up on the website or through a link on the parish post, and you'll be assigned a fellow parishioner at random to buy a Valentine's Day sweet for. You can get them candy or flowers or anything else that you think would be enjoyable for them. And you will also be assigned someone to deliver a secret sweetie for you. Estimated cost should be minimal. Just the whole goal is to have fun. If you have any questions, there's information on the website and in the parish post. Hope you will participate. Thanks.
Finally, our annual meeting will be held here at First Parish next Sunday at 11:45 a.m. on Zoom. All materials for both today's budget hearing and next week's annual meeting can be found on the annual meeting page at our website. This includes the newsletter or the annual reports, the warrant for the meeting, and the links to both Zoom events. Hard copies of the annual report can also be mailed out 20th century style to any church member this week upon request. We continue to find ways and discover ways that we can participate as members of an active community and church from a distance. I continue to be gratified in seeing so many of you stepping up and reaching out during this challenging time. That is what churches like ours do. Thank you for joining us today. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord keep all those whom you love, whether here or in some other place. May God be your companion, and you be God's friend as you walk together through all the days of your life. And at the journey's end, may you find the welcome of God's love. It keeps us all. Amen.